How to grow tuberose. Rajnigandha. The 1st of November 2019, my tuberose start to grow back from dormancy. I initially believed my tuberose had died, because it had been neglected for such a long time. My soil pH, when growing my tuberose, are about 7 pH. Under normal conditions, tuberose will rest for a few months before beginning the next growing cycle. Ideal soil pH for growing tuberose is between 6.5 to 7.5 pH. If your soil pH is low, try using limestone. The finer the limestone particles, the more rapidly it becomes effective to change soil pH. Wood ashes also can be used to raise the soil pH. But wood ashes are not as effective as limestone. If your soil pH is too high, you can use aluminum sulfate or sulfur to lowering the soil pH. Aluminum sulfate will change the soil pH instantly because aluminum produces acidity as soon as it dissolves in the soil. Sulfur requires some time for the conversion to sulfuric acid with the help from soil bacteria. This pH problem usually happens when you try to grow tuberose in the garden bed. That's why you need to test your soil before planting any type of plant in your garden. Since I am using new potting soil, brought from the nursery, I know my soil pH will be in 6.5 to 7 pH range. It does not mean that growing in container are immune to this kind of soil pH problem. My soil temperature is 26.7 degrees Celsius in the morning. Temperature taken at 10 a.m. I typically repotted my tuberose every 12 months. Soil pH is not an indication of soil fertility. Soil pH value directly affects nutrient availability. In highly acidic soil, aluminum and manganese can become more available and more toxic to plant. At low pH values, calcium, phosphorus and magnesium are less available to the plant. Some plants prefer to grow in more acid soil, or may require a more alkaline level. Soil I use for growing tuberose contain cocoa peat, red burn soil, micro, fine sand, old humus and charcoal. You can use whatever growing media available to your convenience. As long you use well-drained soil, you will be fine. Please do not use heavy soil when growing tuberose, because it will lead to waterlogging problem. Tuberose will not tolerate waterlogged soil. It is also helpful to add a slow-release all-purpose fertilizer into the potting soil before planting. Container size I use to grow tuberose, height 20 cm, width 30 cm. I plant my tuberose about 2-3 inch deep in the soil. You can grow multiple tuberoses in much larger container. In bigger container, just space the bulb about 6 inches apart so they have room to grow. Please make sure your container have good drainage. Fail to do so will promote root rot. For me, the advantage for growing in container is gives me more control over sunlight, moisture and temperature. For someone who live in cool climate, you could start tuberose indoors. You can transplant tuberose outdoors when all danger of frost has passed and night temperatures are above 60 degrees Fahrenheit. Tuberose come in two varieties, the single-flowered and the double-flowered. Single varieties tuberose are more fragrant than double type, and contain 0.08 to 0.14% concentrate more, which is used in high-grade perfumes. Average temperature for growing tuberose is 20 to 31 degrees Celsius. Tuberose thrive in tropical to subtropical climates. Tuberoses are hardy in zone 8 to 10 USDA. Growing tuberose in very low temperature, an incidence of frost will damage the tuberose bulb. Tuberose must be dug up and stored before winter in some area. To stored tuberose, cut the foliage 2 to 3 inches from the bulb. Then allow tuberose bulb to dry in a warm location with good air circulation for 5 to 7 days. Suggested storage temperature for tuberose bulbs are about 70 to 75 degrees Fahrenheit. Tuberose prefers to grow in full sun location. Tuberose need at least 6 to 8 hours of full sun to grow vigorously. If tuberose grow in shade or semi-shade location, it will drastically reduce the flower quality. Tuberose requires warm and humid climate to grow, although flowering is profuse under mild climate. Humidity and temperature are two main factors responsible for increasing or decreasing the production of tuberose flower. On average, my water usage is 400 milliliters. In my climate, I water my tuberose every other day. Time I water my tuberose is between 7 to 8 a.m. Please water early in the days so the foliage has time to dry up before evening, to minimize disease problems. If you can, water the growing media rather than the plant. If I forget to water in the morning, I water at 5:30 to 6:30 p.m. My water usage in the evening will cut in half, about 200 milliliters. Tuberose water preference is moderate watering. If raining, I do not water my plant. Water usage depend on container size, container type, weather and climate you live in. Keep the soil moist but not saturated. For me, it is easier to overwatering than underwater. Your water usage may be different than mine, and depending on your conditions, you may have to water as often as twice a day. If your soil dry too quickly, you can try mulches your plant. Since mulch help retain soil moisture. Mulches also can help maintaining soil temperatures. Be sure to keep mulch an inch or 2 away from plant stem. This is done to prevent possible rot to your plant. Weed control is one of the significant tasks, has to be carried out for ensure much better quality tuberose flower. Since weeds compete with plants for water, space and nutrients. So by controlling them by either cultivating often, or use mulch to prevent germination. My favorite weed control is pulling out the weed by hand. You also can cover the soil with newspaper to prevent germination. I do not use any herbicides in weed control for my tuberose plant. I start using fertilizer after new growth appears. I use multi-purpose liquid fertilizer. You can use whatever fertilizer available to your convenience. Please read the instructions carefully before starting using any fertilizers. I use fertilizer every 30 days. My fertilizer time is in the early morning 6:30 to 7 a.m. Tuberose are moderate to heavy feeders, depending on the plant age. My average maximum temperature when growing tuberose are around 33 degrees Celsius. My average minimum temperature when growing tuberose are around 24 degrees Celsius. My average humidity when growing tuberose are around 85%. I grow my tuberose in tropical climate. Tuberose are perennial plant. Tuberose are propagated by bulbs, bulblets, offsets. Flower buds start to emerge. Each tuberose bulb will produce grass-like 18 inches leaves and flower spikes. It is depend on the age and size of the tuberose bulbs. Tuberose plant is not particularly attractive with plain green stappy leaves. For me, tuberose wonderful fragrance from the blooms, especially at night, make it worthwhile for growing them. Flower stem bend, because it become heavy due to flower bud become bigger. I use bamboo cut to support tuberose flower stem. You also can use trellis or tomato cage to support your tuberose flower stem. Heavy rain and strong wind also can make tuberose flower bend stem to bend. When placing trellis or support in the ground next to the plant, please be careful not to injure the bulb. It seems my tuberose is infected by flower bud rot. Erwinia sp is involved in a bacterial rot of flower buds that occurs during warm and wet growing periods. This is common problem I encounter when growing tuberose in tropical climates. To resolve this problem, I just carefully remove the affected flower bud. Tuberose flowers start to bloom and give floral scent. For me, flowers buds rot problem can be avoided by using row covers to protect the flower from water and rain. If grow in container, you can simply move the container to protected area. Tuberose is a hardy crop and is not much affected by attacks of insect, pest and diseases. Thank you for watching.